Charlie spent his whole life behind a desk, quiet, invisible, harmless. But when the one thing he loved most is stolen from him, and the CIA refuses to lift a finger, he does the unthinkable. Charlie was fixing a small airplane in his garage. His wife, Sarah, came to see him. She told him she was going to London for work. She asked if he wanted to come with her. Charlie said no because he had too much work to do. Charlie worked at the CIA. The CIA is a government spy agency. He had made many of the security machines that check people when they entered the building. One day at work, Charlie got a message from someone called Inquiline. This person had been selling him secret information for many years. Inquiline had new papers to sell, but Inquiline warned Charlie that these papers could be dangerous for the CIA. Charlie tried to guess where Inquiline was. He said Istanbul, but Inquiline wouldn't tell him. Charlie started working on the secret papers, but even though he was very smart, he couldn't understand the code. After lunch, Sarah called him from London. She said she had arrived safely. Charlie already knew this. He had been secretly tracking her location on his computer. Charlie still could not figure out the code, so he took his computer to a special room with better equipment. After working for hours, he finally broke the code and opened the files. What he saw shocked him completely. The paper showed that the government had secretly ordered a drone attack. Then they lied about it. The news had said that 150 people died. This included French and Danish soldiers. The attack was planned by Chief Moore. Moore was Charlie's boss at work. That night, Charlie tried calling Sarah. She didn't answer, so he left her a voice message. The next morning at work, Charlie was surprised. He found Moore waiting for him. Moore took Charlie to meet O'Brien. She was the new director of the CIA. O'Brien told Charlie some terrible news. There had been a terrorist attack at a hotel in London. Sarah was killed. Charlie couldn't believe what he was hearing. He wanted to call Sarah right away, but Moore turned on the TV to show him the news. The reporter explained how 4 terrorists had broken into the hotel. They took 4 people as prisoners. They killed 2 of them. Then Moore showed Charlie security camera videos from the hotel. The videos proved that Sarah was really dead. When Charlie went home, he found many news reporters waiting outside his house. They wanted to interview him. The police were trying to keep the reporters away. A friend helped Charlie get into his house without being bothered by the reporters. The next day, Charlie went back to work. He talked to Moore and his boss, Caleb. He was very suspicious about what had happened to Sarah. Charlie said he couldn't believe the terrorists could have avoided all the thousands of security cameras in London. He also thought it was strange that they drove their car into heavy traffic. Moore promised they were investigating and send Charlie home. Charlie went to the airport to collect Sarah's body and her things. At home, he looked through her suitcase. He found a present she had bought for him. This made him cry very hard. Charlie couldn't stand being at home anymore, so he went back to work. He used a special computer to hack into the security cameras at the hotel and on the nearby streets. He put together a timeline of exactly what happened. He showed it to his bosses. Charlie found out that the 4 terrorists had stolen a car in the East End of London. They entered the hotel through the back door. They carefully removed all fingerprints and DNA evidence. They had come for a meeting with a company called Impact Investments from Indonesia. But something went wrong, and they started arguing in the hallway. One of the company's security guards got angry, so a terrorist shot him. This killed 1 guard and badly hurt another. Hotel security was told right away and called the police. The terrorists knew they needed to escape quickly, so they went into a meeting room and took some people as prisoners. Sarah was captured because she was trying to help other people escape. Charlie used voice and face technology to identify all 4 terrorists. Their names were Mishka from Moscow, Lawrence, who used to be a South African Special Forces soldier, Horst, who was a hired fighter, and Gretchen, who used to work in intelligence. Charlie noticed that Caleb and Moore didn't seem surprised by any of this information. He realized they already knew everything he had just found out. They told Charlie they were already working on the case. They sent him to see a therapist. The next day, Charlie hid a small electronic chip in his ID badge. He walked through security. The scanners didn't find the chip. In his office, he printed all the secret files. He used a special device called a skimmer on the printer to make a digital copy of everything. That night, Charlie went to a bar. He stared at a jukebox for a long time. The next morning, he talked to his bosses again. This time he brought the printed files with him. He listed all of Moore's illegal missions. This included bombing a hospital in Syria and attacking a friendly base in Yemen. These attacks killed thousands of innocent people. Charlie threatened to take all the evidence to the director. He said that he had set up something called a dead man's switch. If he didn't enter a secret code every 5 hours, all the evidence would be sent to major news organizations. In exchange for keeping quiet, Charlie wanted full CIA training, fake passports, cash, a gun, and information about who killed Sarah. After the meeting, Charlie went to his car and threw up because he was so stressed. Back in the office, Moore said Charlie was probably lying about the dead man's switch. But Caleb said they couldn't take that risk. They decided to look for the trigger device. If it was really a lie, they could arrange for Charlie to have a deadly accident during training. Later, Caleb and his team tried to figure out how Charlie had copied the secret files. They thought about the possibility of a skimmer. This wouldn't work on their secure computers, but could be used on a printer. Charlie could have sent the files to the printer and used a magnetic strip to copy the data. Looking at security videos, they confirmed that Charlie had bought a magnetic strip at a store, but they still couldn't figure out how he had brought it into and out of the building. The team also searched Charlie's house. They found out that he had been to a certain bar twice. They went to the bar to search it. They found an ABBA music CD hidden under the jukebox. Caleb selected that CD from the jukebox's playlist, but only static noise could be heard. So they took the CD that Charlie had left behind. Meanwhile, Charlie arrived at a CIA training place. He was welcomed by Colonel Henderson. They started at the shooting range, but Charlie was a terrible shot. He had to get very close to targets to hit them. However, when it came to making bombs, Charlie worked very fast and impressed Henderson. Next, Charlie needed to learn his fake identity. Henderson was mean to him and threw him around. This was so that Charlie could still remember his new information even when under pressure. Finally, they made new fake passports for Charlie. That night, Henderson went to Charlie's room. He told him he wasn't a killer, but Charlie said he wanted justice for his wife. Henderson pulled out a gun and gave it to Charlie. He asked him to point it at his chest. Charlie's hand shook badly, and he eventually put the gun down. Back at the office, the agent spent several hours figuring out the information on the CD. They found out that Charlie had been lying about the dead man's switch. They immediately told their bosses. They didn't know Charlie was spying on them. As things turns out, that the cheap Charlie had hidden in his barge was actually a listening device. He had put it on the files he gave to his bosses. Moore immediately called Henderson and told him to arrest Charlie, but Charlie had already escaped. After hanging up, Moore finally found the listening device on the files. He spoke directly to Charlie, telling him this was treason. Charlie threw away his earpiece before getting on a plane. When Charlie reached London, he went through customs and started traveling to Paris. His fake passport showed up in the CIA's computers, so Moore sent Henderson to chase him. In Paris, Charlie rented a hotel room near a restaurant where Gretchen was often seen. Eventually, she appeared. Charlie was close enough to start tracking her phone. Charlie spent the day watching Gretchen's building and waited until she left. When another person came out of the building, Charlie used the chance to sneak inside. He followed an online video to pick the lock on Gretchen's apartment door. Charlie searched the apartment and took pictures of Gretchen's schedule. He also found a gun in a drawer and decided to keep it. At that moment, his tracking device warned him that Gretchen was coming back. So he rushed to the stairs to wait for her. However, when she finally came home, Charlie couldn't make himself pull the trigger. Feeling disappointed in himself, he rushed back to the hotel and pretended Sarah was waiting for him there. After calming down, Charlie looked closely at the pictures he had taken. He learned that Gretchen had been going to the hospital often. Hacking into her medical records showed that she had serious allergies. The next morning, Charlie bought many different types of flowers. He waited at a cafe until he saw Gretchen and followed her to the hospital. Gretchen was having medical tests done, but the doctor noticed that the computer screen was broken, so he left the room to get help. Charlie entered the room dressed as a doctor and locked Gretchen inside the medical machine. She started to panic, but Charlie ignored her while filling the chamber with pollen from all the flowers. The real doctor and a nurse heard the noise, but the door was locked. Gretchen started to get weak because of her serious allergies. Charlie said he would help her if she told him where to find Horst. Horst was the one who had shot Sarah. The allergic reaction made it impossible for Gretchen to speak. So Charlie opened the chamber. As soon as he did, Gretchen pushed him against the desk. They started fighting throughout the room. They threw each other against every piece of furniture. Charlie pulled out his gun, but Gretchen knocked him down and opened the door to run away. Charlie desperately followed her into the street. But before he could shoot, Gretchen was hit by a car. Charlie was horrified by seeing the dead body. He forced himself to go closer and grab her phone. Then he ran away and threw the doctor's coat in the trash. Back at the hotel, he washed all the blood off himself and packed his things. That night, he went to the bus station and bought a ticket to Marseilles. Soon the news of Gretchen's death reached the CIA. O'Brien questioned more about this. He only said that Gretchen appeared to have been killed by one of their own agents. That night, Charlie went to a bar and drank heavily. He was trying to forget the guilt he felt about causing Gretchen's death. He thought he saw Sarah dancing, but when he looked more carefully, he realized it was just a woman who looked like her. Then Charlie noticed Henderson coming toward him and panicked. He pushed through the crowd until he managed to leave the bar. He ran through the streets until he found a different bar to hide in. Henderson followed him there too. So Charlie rushed to the bathroom and locked the door. Unfortunately, there were no windows, so Charlie had no choice but to come out and joined Henderson at the bar. He learned that Henderson had found him by tracking Gretchen's phone. After talking briefly, Charlie showed Henderson a timer on his phone and ran out just before a bomb exploded in the bathroom. The bar was filled with chaos, and Henderson lost sight of Charlie. The tracking device on Henderson's phone stopped working too. The next morning, Charlie contacted Inquiline to ask for help. He left on a cargo plane to Turkey. In Istanbul, he went to a restaurant and sent a text message to Inquiline. He noticed a man's phone ringing and tried to get close to him, but he was stopped by a woman who told him to check his own phone. Charlie left the restaurant and the woman came to him again. She confirmed that she was Inquiline. She already knew about his wife's death, so she made him hide his hat and backpack in a shopping bag. Inquiline told him to pretend to shop for a while and then meet her at a garage. A few minutes later, Charlie met with her again and she drove him to her home. During the trip, Inquiline explained that she had become a hacker 6 years ago after her husband died. Her husband had been a CIA worker who also worked for Russian intelligence. In fact, he was the original Inquiline and had taught her everything she knew. The official story was that he had accidentally fallen from a window. When they reached her home, Inquiline said this was the only place she had been able to stay longer than 3 years. She admitted she was tired of constantly running and hiding. If the Russians ever came for her, she had a gun ready to kill herself. Then they started talking about the case. Horst was the leader in charge of hiring fighters for more. Lawrence was an arms dealer, so Inquiline volunteered to pretend to be an arms seller to contact him. Finally, there was Mishka, who traveled often and posted everything on social media. They looked at his pictures closely and found a woman with him. Using face recognition technology, they found her Instagram account and confirmed she was in Spain. The next day, Caleb told his team to keep watching the terrorists to try to find Charlie. O'Brien met with Moore and told him she wanted him to stop running secret operations without her permission. Moore said her predecessor had given him the same speech, so he would tell her the same thing he said then. She had his full support. After the meeting, O'Brien got in her car, and her assistant showed her a picture of Henderson in Spain. It was confirmed that Moore had sent him there, so O'Brien sent one of her own agents to follow Henderson. Meanwhile, Charlie and Inquiline found Mishka by hacking into a hotel security cameras. Charlie then traveled to Madrid and stayed at the same hotel. He learned that Mishka liked swimming in a pool that connected 2 buildings on their rooftops. At the same time, Henderson was also tracking Charlie down in the area. The next day, Charlie started building a device that would help him capture Mishka. He hid it inside the hotel. Afterward, he followed Mishka to the bar. He didn't know that Henderson was in the lobby. Charlie saw a suspicious man at the bar and realized he had seen him before. This meant he was being followed. He told Inquiline through his earpiece. So she used face recognition to search for the man and confirmed he was a CIA agent. She also saw Henderson on the security camera and told Charlie to stop the mission. But Charlie wanted to stick to his plan. When Mishka went to the pool, Charlie talked to him and asked where to find Horst. If Mishka didn't tell him, Charlie would destroy the pool. Mishka didn't believe him and started swimming away. So Charlie pressed a button and the glass began to crack. Mishka desperately tried to swim faster, but it was too late. The glass broke and he felt his death. All the water flooded onto the street below. Then Inquiline warned Charlie that Henderson and the other agent were getting closer. She gave him directions to escape. A chase began and Henderson almost caught Charlie. But at that moment, the other agent attacked Henderson. The man tackled Henderson and they started fighting in a laundry room. Charlie watched as they threw each other around the room. Henderson put the man's head inside a washing machine. The agent pulled out a gun and shot Henderson. But Henderson managed to steal the gun and shoot him back. Then Charlie came inside and wondered if he should help them. But Inquiline reminded him to run away. The next day, O'Brien brought Moore to her office and asked about Charlie. Moore said Charlie was on bereavement leave and she let him go. But then she revealed that she had video from the hotel. Meanwhile, Caleb and his team looked at the same video and realized Charlie had help. They looked at Charlie's encrypted chat messages and finally found the communications from Inquiline. After a long search, they found the file of the dead agent known as Inquiline. They guessed that his wife must have taken over his identity. That night, Charlie and Inquiline agreed to sleep next to each other just for company. However, they were woken up by Inquiline's pet birds making noise. They saw many agents coming toward them on the security cameras. The two immediately ran through a hidden tunnel in the wall. As they made their way out, Charlie saw a drone in the sky. By sneaking into another building, they managed to keep going. They left the neighborhood right before the agents broke into the house. The computer was already deleting all the files, so there was nothing left for the agents to find. After running down the beach, they got to Inquiline's car and were spotted by the drone. Soon the agents came after them, shooting at them. They even followed them with a boat. After a long chase, the agents managed to damage the car enough to make it stop. Inqueline was badly wounded and dying. Charlie had no choice but to push her body to the passenger seat. He took over driving so that he could keep going until he finally lost his pursuers. Later, he left the car in a garage and kissed Inqueline goodbye. The next day, Charlie contacted Lawrence and pretended to be an arms dealer to arrange a meeting. Then Charlie bought new electronics and traveled to Romania. In an abandoned building, he recorded his own face and hacked a security camera feed in Berlin. Now the CIA thought he was in Berlin and sent their people there. When Lawrence finally arrived at the meeting place, he found a ringing phone on a chair. Charlie told him to look inside a box. Lawrence found several bombs. If he moved, they would explode. As Lawrence noticed a picture of Sarah in the box, Charlie appeared behind him. He asked for Horst's location and promised to turn off the bombs if Lawrence helped him. Lawrence explained that Horst operated in Russian waters. He typically received deliveries at a Baltic seaport. Charlie then asked how to contact Horst. So Lawrence said Horst only received messages through secret codes from his man. All the phone numbers and names were on Lawrence's phone. He threw it on the ground. After grabbing the phone, Charlie left. He heard the bombs killing Lawrence in the other room. Soon the CIA got news of Lawrence's death in Romania. They realized they had been looking at fake security video. Later, in a Russian hotel, Charlie imagined Sarah with him and opened her gift. It was a puzzle that he solved quickly. It had a sweet message from his wife inside. In the morning, Charlie went to the port and saw a suspicious vehicle. He sent the secret code to Horst's men and saw a guy by the suspicious car check his phone. Charlie followed the man and took pictures of his boat before leaving. After buying some tools, Charlie went back to the hotel. He tracked down the yacht by searching its registration number. He also studied the sea routes that Horst might be using. In the morning, Charlie got close to the boat, but someone knocked him unconscious from behind. This caused him to drop Sarah's puzzle. Charlie was taken to the yacht where he finally met Horst. Horst had found the bomb Charlie had hidden earlier. Horst had noticed that Charlie had killed the others indirectly. He thought Charlie wasn't able to kill someone face to face. He handed Charlie a gun and asked him to shoot him, but Charlie couldn't do it and put the gun down. Suddenly, the yacht started turning in the opposite direction and the crew panicked. Charlie revealed that he had taken control of the yacht. The yacht was actually controlled by the CIA. Since he had worked on the security systems that protected this yacht, it was easy for him to hack into it and send it toward Finland. Soon, the yacht was surrounded by the Finnish Navy and Interpol. They immediately arrested Horst and his men. Sometime later, O'Brien gave a press conference. She announced that they had arrested all the corrupt agents who had been using the CIA's resources for illegal activities. Charlie was approached by Henderson, who told him he was proud of what Charlie had done. After visiting Sarah's grave, Charlie went home and finally took the airplane for a flight. I hope you enjoyed this recap. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button and hit follow for more amazing movie recaps like this. As always, thank you so much for watching.